Hey guys, this is your host Irfan Nasser, and today in this video I want to tell you the reason that I shifted from Android to iOS. Now I have been using Android operating system for the past 10 years. I bought my first Android phone, which was a Samsung Galaxy S3 back in 2013. It was pretty decent phone at the time and used to run everything well. And since then I kept on using Android, and I was reluctant on buying Apple products because back then a lot of customization was available on Android operating systems, which were missing in iOS and iPhones obviously. So in 2014 Apple introduced a new device which is called iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, which increased the display of the phone, but still I didn't shift towards that one. Still it was missing a lot of features. So the second flagship I got was in 2016, and it was a Galaxy Note 4, which I used for 4 years, and it was pretty decent phone, and it was also a pretty powerful phone with good specs. And then the third major flagship phone was S10 Plus, which was the last Android phone that I bought. Technically the flagship last Android phone that I bought, but other mid-range phones I had bought were in 2014 I got the HTC Desire 500 phone, which was a pretty mid to low end phone, which I used for 2 years before switching to Note 4. After my graduation I got the Vivo V21e, which I am still using when I go to Pakistan, but it's not a flagship phone. It has mediocre specs on that. But then in 2023 I wanted to upgrade to a phone and was looking at different options that I can get. So the one phone that crossed my mind was the latest flagship from Samsung, which is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I mean, this phone is a beast, and it is one of the best phones of 2023 by far because of its insane specs. So I was into it, and I was researching different phones also at the same time. But then I had a spare SE2 in my home, which was lying around, and I kind of started using this phone. I mean, obviously I have used iPad and all that, but never used an iPhone as a daily driver. So I started using it as a secondary phone whenever my S10 Plus has low charge, so I started using this one. But then I thought that why not just swap the SIMs in this phone and use it as a primary device for a few days, maybe a week or so, and check whether I enjoy this new operating system or not. So therefore I just swapped my SIMs and started using this as a daily driver, and to be honest, it shocked me. Like, this phone is 3 years old, and the way it feels in hand and the way it runs applications, it blew my mind. Because if 3-year-old Android phone won't be able to produce that much processing power or battery efficiency as this phone did for me, and this was basically a turning point in my phone choice, that I immediately that I shifted to an Apple smartphone. Now obviously my friends had been asking me to get this phone before, but for some reason I was reluctant on getting it, and I now think that maybe I should have gone for the iPhone in the first place in 2019 when I got the S10 Plus flagship, which was it was a good phone, but it was Exynos version, so it kind of started slowing down, and now it's in that state that it doesn't feel as smooth as it used to be. So back in 2019 if I had got the iPhone 11, maybe it would have run pretty good and better than the S10 Plus. So the few reasons that I want to mention is that now the boundary between Android and iOS is not that visible, or that boundary that we used to say that okay, you cannot do this in Android and you cannot do this in Apple and all that, because now most of the Android features are in this iPhone. And for example, the widget features, which was missing in iOS devices, is here, and in the new flagship of Apple they have introduced the USB Type-C, so therefore it's also a nice addition. Apart from that, there are few tweaks, like I still remember the days when people used to say that okay, iPhone doesn't have any Bluetooth, and so it won't be as good as the Android and all that. I mean, it did work at that time, but now it's not the case, because most of the accessories are easily compatible with Apple devices, and you get a lot of choices to use any accessory with the Apple device. And the third thing is the privacy, which I immediately liked about this phone. Like, it's the most secure phone in the world as compared to other Androids, because the Face ID system and the encryption that Apple does is better than the other systems. Obviously, Samsung has also been working on hardware level encryption, which is also a nice thing. But if you talk about fluidness and the smoothness of this phone, I really like this, like the the transitions, the app switching things and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty nice for me and nice to watch. The standby time of this phone is also pretty nice, because the Android phones that I have, obviously the S10 Plus that I'm using, even though if I charge it fully, like to 100%, and just put it in the table and just sleep, next day it would have the battery would have decreased a few percentages. But it isn't the case with the Apple devices, because the standby time of Apple is far better than any other Android phone, period. So therefore, this is one of the nice touch. And also now the AirDrop feature, obviously it was there before, but AirDrop feature to share pictures and videos to friends' iPhones and all that, it's also seamless and pretty good, better thing. I mean, what Apple does is actually, even though if it brings the features later on its phones, but when it does, it runs better than the Android ones. Because I still remember the S3 which I had back in 2013 had this feature of NFC and this one S-Beam, by which you can easily transfer, but it was not as easy as Apple. As Apple is just, you just select the pictures and you just press AirDrop and touch the phones. So it's kind of that convenient. Also, the software security updates, which Apple provides to every major Apple product, obviously, and it's seamless. And I saw that when the day the iPad got the latest firmware update, it was the same day that this SE2, even though it's 3 years old, got the update. Don't get me wrong, because I have been using the Android phones for 10 years, but now I think it's time for me to switch to Apple completely. In case of smartphones, obviously I'll be using this Apple device, but laptops, I have the Windows one, so obviously that is not Apple operating system. Therefore, yeah, smartphones, if you ask me, if your budget allows it, I think it's better to just buy an Apple product, like a new iPhone or an year-old iPhone, and it will run pretty smoothly for the next few years, maybe more, like 5 to 6 years. You can easily run these phones. See, the thing is that smartphones have reached the peak, and no matter what phone you buy now, it's gonna give you better performance, obviously, because there is nothing more to add to a phone apart from the foldables and all that. Obviously that's a new revolution where phones are going. But in case of all the standard brick phones, obviously the new Samsung ones, the new Apple ones, they have reached their peak, and there is nothing more that they can add to make it a game changer. Therefore, in my opinion, it's better that you should get the Apple iPhone as your daily driver if you want to do it. Obviously, many people will disagree. Many people will switch to Samsung phones. Obviously, that's fine, because now they are producing good phones. But the thing is, whenever I have bought a Samsung phone, there have been some kind of trouble for me also. Samsung didn't used to ship Snapdragon variants across the world, and the place where I live doesn't offer these processors. Therefore, I end up buying Exynos one. So that was few disadvantages that I had faced using Samsung products. I mean, the experience had been better, but there are some times which the phone wasn't as good as expected. So what's the future and what I will do? Obviously, I plan on running this phone for a few months, and if maybe next year or the middle of next year, maybe I'll upgrade to the 15 Pro Max, and yeah, that'll be my last flagship phone that I will buy, and hopefully it will run for a few years. And yeah, let's see what happens. So that's pretty much it, and I just wanted to share this video with you guys to share my experience regarding my usage of Android phones and why I turned to Apple at last. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and if you like more videos like this, more content like this, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more content soon. So peace out.